Hello and welcome to your Remains Movie Report. This week I have watched J.Edgar, the new film by director Clint Eastwood, who we all know, about the legendary creator of the Federal Bureau of Investigation in America, J.Edgar Hoover. This film is, of course, many things. It isn't so much about J.Edgar Hoover's career. It's more about J.Edgar Hoover's person, his relationship with his mother, and his relationship with his views on the world, and of course the relationship with his longtime life partner Clyde Tolson. Over the years there have been many rumours about J.Edgar Hoover. That one of the most persistent rumours that J.Edgar Hoover was a homosexual, and he had a homosexual relationship with Clyde Tolson, who also held one of the highest positions in the FBI next to J.Edgar. In the film, of course, we follow a young J.Edgar who throughout the film is played by Leonardo Dicaprio, who we see in the beginning of his career as a young employee at the Department of Justice in the United States in 1919, and how he, with his visionary thoughts on criminal investigations, is able to create what we now know as the Federal Bureau of Investigation. And of course, this is a huge topic, and I must say, Clint Eastwood, I have read many other reviews regarding this film, and I must say that the film which Clint Eastwood has put together with the script writer, the guy Dustin Lance Black, who wrote the script for Harvey Milk, the story about that homosexual politician in Chicago, which takes place in a couple of years after this, in the late 1970s. The film that Clint Eastwood and Dustin have put together, it isn't. I was personally expecting that this film was going to be some sort of hit job on J.Edgar Hoover's character, but it wasn't. It in my opinion, it presented a very honest picture of who J.Edgar was. He was a man with personal difficulties, but he, as I said earlier, he was also a visionary when it came to criminal investigations. And the film is very masterfully put together, and with a lot of symbolism. For instance, when J.Edgar, every time there's a presidential inauguration, he goes out on the balcony from his office to all the chairs and which belongs with this kind of celebration. And I think that secretly, maybe this is supposed to symbolize that J.Edgar, who of course is played very masterfully by Leonardo Dicaprio, I will come to that later regarding his acting. Maybe I think that Eastwood is trying to show us that J.Edgar secretly maybe wished it was him the crowds were cheering at, but he was never recognized when he was alive for the things that he did. He was criticized very much, but never recognized, because he as he said himself, he kept America safe from foreign and domestic enemies, but at a certain price for himself and for the country. But J.Edgar Hoover is an interesting character, and he's masterfully played by Leonardo DiCaprio, who plays J.Edgar Hoover from a young man the death of J. Edgar Hoover, and Armie Hammer, who of course plays Clyde Tolson, Armie Hammer, who we saw in playing the brothers Winklevoss in The Social Network. He does a great job. He's in many ways his character Clyde Tolson he's weaker than J. Edgar, because in some ways, because he has this in many ways he's subservient to J. Edgar's character, while J. Edgar, yes, he is a homosexual, supposedly, but he doesn't want that fact to control his life. He uses the fact that many others who he kept files on, they were lesbians and homosexuals, but he doesn't want to have the fact that he himself lives in a gay relationship with Clyde Tolson. He doesn't want that to be known to the world, and he doesn't want that to control his life, and that's quite interesting. So in many ways, J. Edgar is portrayed as being in a conflict with himself, but he's able to control this conflict, and he doesn't let this. He doesn't allow this to tear him down, but in many ways to speculate on this, and but in many ways, as J. Edgar, he is a complex character. He is a complex character, but he's masterfully played by Leonardo Dicaprio, and I hope certainly that Leonardo gets an Oscar for this performance, because he's one of his best in my opinion. And of course we have Dame Judi Dench, who plays J. Edgar's mother, and she does a superb job, as well as this very old-fashioned matriarch who controls Edgar and keeps saying to him, Edgar, you'll rise to become the most powerful man in the country, etc., etc., etc. But at the same time, she tells him that she can't. She tells him a story about this boy from when J. Edgar was a child. When J. Edgar, and here's a spoiler, he attempts to share with his mother that he is not attracted to women, and then she tells him a story about this boy from J. Edgar's childhood, who also was a homosexual, but when was made to stand out in the street, dressed in a woman's dress and in pearls, and whereafter he shot himself. And in many ways, that's the driving fact why J. Edgar, he doesn't want to let his homosexuality control him. That he doesn't want to end up where, like, I mean, if I remember correctly, the character was referred to as Daffy. So in many ways, that's his. Some would argue that that's J. Edgar's personal tragedy, because of his mother, he doesn't want to acknowledge who he is. He is J. Edgar Hoover, but he is also a homosexual. But it's possible to argue this for a long time. But anyway, it's a great film. It's a great bio picture, and it isn't a smear job or a hit job against J. Edgar's person, and that's a very positive thing. And Clint Eastwood has done a superb job of putting this film together. And if you're into history and modern American history, you should definitely check out J. Edgar. And if I'm gonna rate this film, I would say 5 out of 5 Coca-Cola bottles. That's it. Euroman of Euroman's Movie Report. And of course, this is the 69th episode of Euroman's Movie Report. And next week will be the 70th episode of Euroman's Movie Report, and the start of season 4. And I'll have a surprise giveaway for you if you watch the next episode. More about that next week. This is Euroman of Euroman's Movie Report, signing off and wishing everyone a pleasant weekend.